Boston. Thank you for coming. I'd like to really welcome all of you. Some of you travel from afar. And I know there's traffic on the streets and the roads, so we're not stalling though. We're actually going to start, and hopefully people will just catch up. I think we have 61 people presenting today. How many people here have been to a 140 conference before? Some of you. And anybody actually watch us live in the past on any of the events? So we're actually going to broadcast this event also live. We're doing the audio side of it, because I realize when we're doing the events, most people are listening to us, not really watching us, so we are capturing all the audio. We're going to start, all this will be available for download. I'd like to bring out one of my co-hosts who's now broadcasting.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Jose Limane. I run Boston Twitter. That's all you need to know for right now.
And together, and Laura, if she's around, we're going to be quickly introducing people. When we introduce people, if we're lucky, we'll get their Twitter handle out there. Feel free to tweet to them. If you have questions for them and they see the tweets, maybe they'll answer them. But certainly people are engaged, our speakers are with the 140 Conf community, some of them since we had one. And so feel free to have conversations. The event is pretty straightforward in the sense that we have no breaks. We're starting here at about 9 o'clock and going until 12:30. And we reconvene about 2 o'clock and go till 6 o'clock. There is, though, during the intermission, this is really Act 1 and Act 2. During the intermission, we actually have yoga. We have a yoga session. We have a yoga sponsor. So from 1:15 to 1:45 today, if you haven't done your yoga yet, you're going to be invited to do some community yoga together. And beyond that, it's a chance to also to schmooze. And if you need to talk to people, please don't talk in the audience, because if we talk over there, we hear you on stage. But we feel free, if you want to mingle and stuff, to hang out by the registration area to connect with people. So I guess this is the official welcome. I'm going to start. And thank you, by the way, for doing this. So give me time on the clock, thanks. I'll take whatever. 12. So, by the way, speakers who are coming up, if you're joining us on stage, just come through that door and it brings you back to stage. So what I was going to talk about today was a few different things. First of all, I really do want to thank everyone for coming. I know it's hard to just stop what you're doing and come someplace during the day and travel to someplace during the day. But the 140 conferences to me have become sort of a way of life. I started out back in February last year doing an event for spite rather than for a vision or for an image. It was really because back in 2008, I realized that somebody won the YouTube presidency. I understood that. And I watched the inauguration, and it was kind of cool watching on Facebook with CNN Live. And I had tickets to the inauguration, and I couldn't figure out whether to take the purple seats, which I had ticket to, or to watch it live. And when I found out it was 18 degrees in Washington, I was very happy to be watching it live. But then I realized that the way we were connecting, at least I was connecting with the inauguration, was going to be different forever, ever since. And that what we were experiencing was real-time access to information. And at least on Facebook, I was seeing everybody's Facebook status messages stream by in real time. And when you have 5,000 friends on Facebook, it's a little overwhelming. But it was kind of cool. And I thought that what I was really experiencing was what I call now media. You know, if new media never is to replace old media, if you fuse the two together, old media and new media, you get now media. And I would say the inauguration was a now media moment. And I started thinking, and then I saw the news information. In fact, I never quite figured out why in the world would Ashton Kutcher have a race with CNN for how many followers that they could have on Twitter. I was like, how silly is that? And I went to South by Southwest in 2009. And I was determined to try to figure out how real was this. Now, I've been on Twitter since February 2007. And for me, it's the way I communicate. But I was just seeing how disruptive this was in the worlds of advertising and celebrity and media and politics. And so I wanted to do an event that figured out whether or not this was bullshit or not, figured out, how real this was. And so when I first announced the first 140 in New York City, I didn't have any friends in advertising who used Twitter. I didn't know any celebrities. I certainly didn't know anyone in politics, and I didn't know anybody in the media. And I simply put out a call for speakers. And to my utter surprise, one of the first people who reached out to me was Al Jazeera from Qatar. And from Doha. And so they actually said they wanted to send somebody to New York City to talk about their social media strategy and how Twitter had changed how Al Jazeera works. And I thought that was kind of cool. And the next person, literally my email chain, the next person who reached out to me was the Israeli embassy. You know why the Israeli embassy reached out to me? Because it turned out, starting in 2008, they were using, the US, UK, and Israel was using Twitter for public diplomacy. And I had a whole serendipitous chain of command, and so I did this event. And, we didn't plan it that way, but it turned out the week before the New York City 140 conference, Time Magazine put Twitter on the cover. And how dare it happen, but the Sunday before the Tuesday of the conference, there was this elections in Iran. And trust me, I don't think anybody from San Francisco's Twitter office went to Iran to talk to the would-be dissidents and said, tweet it out, and take your images and put them on YouTube. But something happened that day at the conference. A bunch of people came in green, including Wycliffe, and there was this solidarity, and it was something that just triggered something. And I realized that what I thought may have been total bullshit actually was really real. And a friend of mine in the audience was from my friend Becky McRae. She's based in Alva, Oklahoma, which is a really small town. And she made it all the way to New York City, and she explained to me that what happened in New York that day was a farming term called hybrid vigor. If you're into farming, hybrid vigor is what happens when crops that are not necessarily related crossbreed, and something happens from that. But in terms of, in the physical sense, people who came to that first conference connected from different backgrounds and different walks of life, and it was a fairly amazing experience that ensued. And so that was from that point forward, I knew we were onto something.